I used to think we had it all, that quiet glow of a perfect marriage. Sunday mornings with coffee and soft jazz, the way he'd smile when I hummed in the kitchen, small things that now sting, like poison in sugar. I grabbed your favorite croissant, he said that morning. I smiled, felt that warm flutter. Fool. Later, I was scrolling through his phone, just curious, harmless curiosity, I shouldn't have. But then I saw it. A message. Not just a text. A string of texts. Flirty. Electric. Can stit wait to see you tonight. The hotel is perfect. Missed you so much. I froze. Nausea twisting my stomach into knots. I clicked another thread. Another woman. Another hotel. Another lie. I remember whispering, shaking. No, no, this can set be real. I replayed every smile, every casual touch. Was it all fake? My heart raced, panic and disbelief tangled together. I remembered times he came home late, claiming meetings. Times he laughed off my suspicions. Times I blamed myself. I confronted him that night, my voice cracked. What is this? I held his phone like it burned me. He looked at me, calm, too calm. It's nothing serious, he said, smooth, almost rehearsed. I laughed, bitter. Nothing serious, you booked a hotel, you. He cut me off. You start overreacting, you always do. I felt small, humiliated, the air between us thick with his lies. My chest ached, my mind raced, every memory of trust turned to dust. Why? I whispered. He shrugged, casual, like telling me he forgot to take out the trash. You don't need to make this a big deal. Just, chill? I wanted to scream, to shake him until he admitted the truth. But my body felt frozen. Betrayal lodged itself in my throat, my chest, my blood. Then he dropped the bomb. She said yes, he said casually, sipping his wine. I proposed. She accepted. Time stopped. My ears rang. My hands fell limp. My mind screamed. I wanted to run, to disappear into nothing at all. What? I managed. He shrugged, smiled, perfect, calm, unbothered. My world crumbled. I sat there trembling, staring at him. The man I loved, the man I trusted, now a stranger, and me. I realized I had nothing, nothing but this crushing, burning truth. I thought of all the signs I missed, every suspicious call I laughed off, every small lie I excused. I had been blind, naive, weak. But somewhere, underneath the disbelief, a fire started, hot, fierce, silent. I would not crumble forever. Not now. I left the room. The house felt alien, every corner taunting me. The wine glasses, the photographs, his laughter echoing in my head. He was already planning a future without me. And I had just discovered the first crack in his perfect lie. I barely slept. The ceiling stared back at me, blank and accusing. My chest ached like it had been smashed into pieces and left there to bleed slowly. His face, his smile, the way he said I love you, all lies, all lies. I remembered our wedding. The soft glow of candles, his hand in mine, the promises whispered. Every word, every kiss, every laugh now twisted. Poison laced the memories. I called my sister first. Her voice was cautious, soft, afraid she'd say the wrong thing. Tell me what happened, she said. I couldn't speak. Not at first. Just sobs, broken and ragged, spilling out like jagged glass. He proposed to her. I finally managed, choking on each syllable. What? Her voice cracked. That he can set. I saw the messages, the hotel bookings, everything. There was silence on the line, and then, I Sepnum coming over, now at. When she arrived, she didn't say much at first. She just pulled me into her arms, and for a second I let myself fall apart. He Sep's a monster, she finally said, voice trembling with rage. How could he do this to you? I trusted him, I whispered. I loved him, and I failed. I didn't see it coming. My best friend arrived soon after, pacing, furious. You such are not alone in this, she said, fists tight. I want to strangle him myself. I wanted that. I wanted blood. I wanted justice. But all I could do was collapse into the couch. Numb, my mind replayed every perfect moment. Every time he brushed off my instincts. Every time he smiled like I was the only one who mattered. Nights were worse. I stepped wake up in cold sweats, heart hammering. Why me? I whispered to the darkness. What did I do wrong? I looked at old texts, old photos. Every memory turned jagged, and slowly the fog cleared just enough to see the patterns. His charm, the small manipulations, the little lies that made me question myself. He's been doing this for years, I murmured one night to the empty room. The thought made bile rise in my throat. I started noticing subtle things, the way he shifted conversations, the little gaslights, friends who seemed too aligned with him, family members who laughed at his jokes a little too easily. Even my colleagues, I felt their glances, their whispers. Were they in on it? Or was my paranoia growing? It didn't matter. I couldn't trust anyone anymore, not fully. My sister caught me staring at my reflection in the mirror. You're not yourself, she said softly. I stum broken, I admitted. But maybe I stum not done yet. A seed had been planted, quiet, hidden, dark, a simmering thought that whispered in my ear whenever despair tried to drown me. He can't get away with this. I didn't know the shape it would take. I didn't know the path yet, but I felt it crawling beneath my skin. A slow, cold fire that promised one thing: payback. The heartbreak was still raw, my nights still endless, the tears still came, but under all the sorrow, a new pulse began. Strength, anger. A plan forming quietly, like shadows gathering before a storm. I wouldn't be the broken girl he left behind. Not forever. Not this time. I sat at my kitchen table, laptop open, coffee gone cold, scrolling through article after article. Divorce. Emotional distress. Financial betrayal. Lawsuits. My head spun. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, trembling. Could I even do this? Confront him? Go to court? Or should I just walk away? Pretend none of it happened? I felt the rage bubbling up again. His smile. His calm. That casual cruelty. I wanted to scream, rip something apart. But then I called a lawyer. Thank you for coming in, she said. Professional, sharp. Tell me everything. I spilled it all. Every message, every hotel, every lie. My voice shook, tears brimming. That seps a lot, she said finally, scanning my folder. You've been through emotional abuse. There's seps a case for emotional distress, and depending on your financial situation, there could be claims for financial betrayal. I blinked. Wait, you mean I can sue him? Yes, she said. Civil court. You don't have to wait for a criminal case. You can pursue this. It's seps about reclaiming what seps yours, your dignity, your losses, your sense of justice. I felt a strange rush, something sharp and intoxicating. Empowerment, not revenge in a petty sense, not humiliation, but control. Tell me the steps, I said, leaning forward. She smiled slightly, professional, but I sensed a flicker of respect. First, documentation. Every message, every transaction, every lie you can prove. Then we file the complaint. Serve him. Prepare for mediation. The goal isn't set just money. It's set to acknowledgement of harm. I nodded, heart pounding, and I can win. Cases like this, you have a strong chance, especially with solid evidence. But it's sense not just winning, it's sensing a message. You don't have to stay a victim. I felt heat rising in my chest. My hands trembled, not from fear but from something else. Power, clarity, determination. What if he lies? What if he tries to manipulate again? I asked. We counter. Every time. You don't have to face this alone, she said. I swallowed hard. I want to do it. I want to take back control. She nodded, typing notes. Good, let's start building your case. It's going to be a process, but it's worth it. I left her office with a folder clutched to my chest. The weight was comforting, not heavy. My mind raced, planning, imagining. Each step toward the courtroom felt like reclaiming a part of myself he had tried to destroy. I didn't just want survival. I wanted justice, dignity, recognition of everything he shattered. And for the first time in weeks, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope? I would not let him win. Not this time. This wasn't just about him. It was about me, my life, my truth, my power. I folded the folder, breathed deeply, and whispered to myself, Let's do this. I watched him. Every move, every word, every careless smile. I acted normal, smiled when he walked in, laughed at his jokes, but inside I was hunting. Predatory. Cold. "You're working late again," he said one night, leaning against the doorframe, his tone casual, arrogant. "I have a lot on my plate," I replied, voice calm, but my fingers were already moving, typing, logging into accounts, pulling receipts, screenshots. He didn't suspect a thing. Not yet. I started small. Emails, banking statements, travel itineraries, little slips he thought I'd never notice. Every hotel booking, every gift, every transfer, evidence stacking quietly, like snow building into an avalanche. I remembered the subtle betrayals, gaslighting, the way he'd say, "You're imagining things," whenever I questioned him, the secret accounts he'd claim were for work expenses, the whispers of colleagues who saw him at lunch when he said he was at a meeting. I smiled at the memory, bitter. He thought he was untouchable. I recruited allies carefully. His assistant, she trusted him completely. But I asked questions casually, observed, learned her schedule, not a word about my plan. "You seem distracted," she said one day, handing me a folder. "Everything okay?" "Just tired," I said, taking it with a polite smile. But I scanned the contents, memorized every number, every note. Little did she know. This folder was gold. Then there was Mark, his coworker, brash, talkative, always boasting about knowing everything in the office. "I heard he's taking another trip next week," Mark said, laughing, leaning back in his chair. "Oh," I said, feigning surprise. "Where to?" He smirked. "You know him, secretive. But I think it steps Vegas." I thanked him, filing it away in my mind, little pieces of the puzzle, forming the bigger picture. Back at home, I'd flash back to his lies, the business dinner that lasted until 2 a.m., the unexplained credit card charges, every time he claimed I was overreacting. I remembered feeling small, stupid, blind. Now it fueled me. He came home one evening, confident as ever. "You stepped her too serious," he said, sipping wine. "Relax. Life sups short." "Mm-hmm," I replied, hiding my fury behind a calm smile. "Of course." He had no idea. Every casual slip, every careless word, I recorded. Cameras, phone logs, screenshots. My apartment became a war room. Files, spreadsheets, printouts, organized meticulously. I even documented witness statements, anonymous tips from colleagues who wanted nothing to do with him. I caught him lying again, this time about a supposed charity donation. I had proof, emails and bank statements contradicting his story. The rush that coursed through me was intoxicating. This was more than anger. This was strategy. Power. I started manipulating our interactions, pretending ignorance, laughing at his jokes, commenting on mundane things, all while noting inconsistencies, trapping him in his own web of deceit. "You're quiet tonight," he said one evening, leaning on the couch, his eyes curious, suspicious even. "I'm tired," I said softly, but inside I was alive, sharp, dangerous. Each discovery made my resolve stronger. Each secret uncovered, each lie exposed in my files, added to the plan taking shape in my mind. I wasn't doing this to hurt him out of spite. Not yet. I was doing it to reclaim what he stole, my dignity, my trust, my life. And soon, very soon, all the threads would come together. He would not see it coming. I closed my laptop and exhaled slowly. The pile of evidence on my desk seemed to glow under the lamp, each file a weapon, each screenshot a strike. And me? I was ready. The dining room was perfect. Soft lighting, crystal glasses catching the candlelight. My husband, smiling at friends, charming, everything as it should be. Or so they thought. I poured my wine slowly, keeping my hands steady, calm, composed. But inside I was a predator circling. "You're late again," I said casually, looking at him across the table. "Traffic," he replied. "Too quick, too rehearsed." I smiled. "Of course, must be exhausting, juggling everything." He glanced around. Friends nodding, laughing, oblivious, or so they hoped. I started small. A question, innocuous, almost curious. "So, about last month's SEP's charity dinner, you said you donated under your name, right?" He stiffened. A flicker. Gone too quickly. Yes? Why? Oh, no reason. Just noticed the bank statements don't match the amount, I said softly, as if noticing a minor oversight. The room went quiet, just a fraction, a tilt of attention toward him, whispers barely audible. You're mistaken, he said, voice strained. A crack in the facade. I raised an eyebrow. Maybe, or maybe I just checked the receipts myself. The whispers grew louder. I could see his pulse quicken, tiny bead of sweat on his temple. His hands gripped the table. I felt a thrill, a pulse of victory, the mask slipping, the perfect image cracking. And then the others, friends who had smiled at me earlier, now shifting, uncomfortable, the ones who had kept quiet supported him blindly, they couldn't hide their discomfort. Is everything okay? One friend asked, hesitant, eyes darting between us. Yes, I said, voice calm, controlled, just reviewing some numbers. My husband Sempil's smile faltered. It semps nothing, just… No, it seps important to be accurate, I interrupted gently. Especially when trust is involved. I watched him squirm, subtle but undeniable. Each tiny slip, each strained word, feeding my quiet satisfaction. I remembered the times I trusted these people, laughed with them, shared secrets, and now, the truth revealed them too, their hesitations, their glances, their minor excuses, small betrayals, unnoticed before, all laid bare in one room. He tried to regain composure. You're making a big deal out of nothing, he said, voice rising. I leaned back, slow sip of wine, calm, unshaken. Sometimes the little things matter most, I said softly, letting it linger. The tension was delicious, the room's energy shifted. He looked around, desperate for support, but there were only subtle nods, awkward smiles. His allies faltered. I smiled inwardly. Each whisper, each sideways glance was mine. I had planted seeds carefully, subtly, and now they sprouted in perfect timing. He tried to charm again. We star all friends here. No need to hide anymore, I said, firm, my voice soft, but sharp. The truth has a way of coming out. His face paled. I could almost see the panic pooling behind his eyes. The man who once controlled every room, every conversation was unraveling before me. And I felt stronger than I had in weeks, more focused, sharper. Each betrayal I uncovered, each lie exposed, was a piece of my power returning. The mask fell, and I savored it, quietly savoring the cracks appearing in the facade he had so carefully built. By the end of the evening, I had done more than expose him. I had seen the true colors of everyone who surrounded us, and in that revelation, I found clarity. I was not broken. I was learning, growing, and the game was mine to play. I signed the papers with calm hands. Official, legal, final. The lawsuit was filed. The first strike, and I felt electric. Everything ready? My lawyer asked, looking at me across the table. Yes, I said. Every detail, every piece of evidence. He won set see this coming. She nodded. Good. Court dates, witnesses, documentation. Your side is bulletproof. But this isn't set just about proof. It's sets about strategy. Strategy. I liked that word. It made me feel alive, focused. No longer the woman gasping in betrayal. No longer the victim curled into herself, trembling at his lies. I was a force now, and he would feel it. The preparation was meticulous. Every email, every hotel receipt, every witness statement organized. Each document a weapon, each screenshot a strike. You self-present calmly, she said, during one session. Let him crumble under his own arrogance. You don't set need to attack, just reveal. I nodded, heart hammering. I pictured him sitting there, smug, thinking he was untouchable. That smirk, that self-assured confidence. I relished the thought of it cracking. Court days arrived. I walked in, posture straight, eyes sharp. He turned, recognition flickering, then shock. Arrogance didn't stick. Not when evidence slammed him silent. You're serious? He muttered to his lawyer, voice tight. Very, my lawyer said, handing over the first stack of files. He glanced at me, disbelief growing. Sep's organized. Every little thing. I smiled inwardly. Yes, I thought, every little thing you thought I miss. The courtroom was a stage. I delivered calm testimony, my voice steady, measured. I let the facts speak, let my evidence do the work. Emails, receipts, financial records, witness statements, each one a hammer cracking his facade. You falsified these transactions, my lawyer said, pointing. Explain this hotel booking under a business name when it was clearly personal. He stammered. I watched, silent, as his arrogance unraveled. Every practiced gesture, every charming smile, dissolved. I could almost hear it shatter. Outside the courtroom, whispers followed. Media caught wind. Rumors spread carefully, not out of vengeance, but precision. I let others see him differently. Let him feel the ripple, not just the legal consequences, but the social ones. The subtle judgment, the shift in perception. Are you okay with all this exposure? My lawyer asked one evening, reviewing strategy. I said I'm beyond okay. I said I'm ready. I said I'm stronger than he imagined. I felt it, this power, not just over him, but over my life again. Every sleepless night, every tear shed, every betrayal endured, it led here. Focused vengeance, yes, but also reclaiming myself. He tried to charm witnesses, tried to sway opinions, tried to laugh it off in public. But it didn't stick. Not anymore. My files were airtight, my demeanor impenetrable. Each courtroom session, each revealed secret, fueled the fire inside me. You're losing control, I whispered once to myself, imagining him sitting there, pale, cornered, scrambling to salvage dignity, and it was sweet. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. The law, the truth, and my careful planning did it for me. My revenge wasn't loud. It was surgical, precise, perfect. And with every deposition, every piece of evidence laid bare, I felt myself rising. Heartbreak transformed into clarity. Betrayal transformed into focus. Pain transformed into power. By the end of the week, the momentum was unmistakable. The man who had humiliated me, betrayed me, thought he was untouchable, was crumbling. The whispers, the courtroom looks, the media leaks, they all whispered the same truth. I was no longer a victim. I left the courthouse one evening, folder in hand, heart steady. My reflection in the glass doors showed a woman transformed, not just scarred, not just angry, but formidable. The power had shifted, and I finally felt the taste of justice, not just served but savored. He called me the next morning. I think we need to talk. His voice tight, strained. I sat back, calm, letting the phone tremble slightly in my hand. About what? I asked softly, controlled. You know everything. I messed up, he said, hesitation, heavy. I didn't mean for. I cut him off, voice quiet, deliberate. Stop, save it. There was a pause. I could hear the panic in him, the thin veneer of arrogance cracking. I want to fix this. Please, let me explain, he begged. I don't want explanations, I said. I want accountability. The lawsuit had taken hold. Every witness, every document I meticulously gathered, every secret he thought was buried laid bare. Emails, receipts, testimonies. Even his colleagues had spoken, carefully, truthfully. The evidence was undeniable. I remembered the court sessions vividly. His charm faltering, his practiced composure shattering. Each testimony a hammer striking the foundation of his lies. You have no idea what you're doing to me, he had said once in court, eyes wide with panic. I think I do, I whispered in my mind. Calm? Cold. Now, outside the courtroom, the fallout began. Rumors, media attention, colleagues questioning loyalties. He tried to control it. Emails, calls, reassurances. But it was too late. Every step I'd taken, every calculated exposure, had ensured he felt the consequences fully. I'm sorry, he said again over the phone, voice almost small, almost human. I let silence stretch. Long enough for him to squirm. Long enough for me to savor that moment, the shift from fearlessness to guilt. Sorry doesn't change what you did, I said finally, voice flat. Closure is instead yours to give. It's steps mine to take. I hung up. The phone felt heavy in my hand. Not with anger, not with hatred, with clarity. Justice, satisfaction. I didn't enjoy his panic. I didn't revel in humiliation. I relished balance. The scales finally tilting. Every sleepless night, every tear, every betrayal, I had channeled it into action, and now, the consequence was inevitable. He reached out again later, via email this time. A careful, cautious message. Apologies, promises, excuses. I read it once, twice, then deleted it. No. Closure doesn't come from him. Closure comes from me. I walked past the mirror that evening. My reflection was steady, my gaze sharp. I didn't need revenge to smile. I didn't need him groveling to feel whole. I had reclaimed myself, step by step, calculation by calculation. I let the satisfaction settle in, not triumph, not glee, but a quiet vindication. Justice done, balance restored. And somewhere deep inside, I realized something essential: pain endured can be transformed, betrayal can be a teacher, rage can become focus, and closure always comes on your terms. He had regret now, panic now, awareness now. But I had strength, clarity, and a future entirely mine. The courtroom smelled of polished wood and tension. The air was heavy, electric. I walked in, folder in hand, calm, collected, every step deliberate. My husband turned, confident at first. But I could see it, the flicker of unease beneath the arrogance. "You ready?" my lawyer whispered, sliding the last set of documents across the table. "Yes," I said. My voice was steady, no tremor, only focus. The judge entered, gavels struck, silence enveloped the room. I felt it, a quiet calm before the storm. "Your case, Miss Harper," the judge said, looking at me. I stood, taking a breath, letting the air fill me with control. "Your Honor, the evidence before you is extensive. Emails, receipts, witness statements. They demonstrate repeated emotional abuse, financial betrayal, and intentional deceit." He shifted in his seat, eyes darting nervously, trying to find some escape, but every move he made, every nervous glance, I had anticipated. I can explain," he stammered, voice tight. "It steps not what it seems." "Not what it seems," I interrupted, soft but sharp. "You lied. Every promise you made. Every word, every smile." The courtroom murmured. I let it happen. Each whisper, each sideways glance reinforced the truth I had built. "My husband," he began, voice rising, desperation creeping in. "You don't yet understand." "I understand perfectly," I said, meeting his gaze. "I remember the nights you said you were working late, the vacations you claimed were business, the accounts you hid. I remember everything." A flashback hit me. Him at the hotel, the messages, the subtle betrayals I had ignored too long. Pain, yes. Rage, yes. But now, power. Clarity. I was no longer the woman crushed by his lies. I was the one holding the truth. "You set're a liar," I said, calm, measured. And now everyone sees it. The lawyer presented the final pieces. Receipts, screenshots, witness testimonies. Each one like a strike, a hammer cracking his carefully built facade. He tried to interrupt, tried to charm, tried to manipulate, but it was futile. His panic was subtle but undeniable. "Miss Harper, your evidence is compelling," the judge said, eyes on him. "Mr. Bennett, your conduct has been documented. Attempts at manipulation are clear. The court rules in favor of the plaintiff." A hush fell. Then the verdict: damages awarded, public exposure measures imposed, social notices, documentation to colleagues and professional networks. Consequences he could no longer control. He slumped, face pale. "This isn't fair," he whispered, almost to himself. I met his gaze. Not with glee, not with malice, but with a calm inevitability. "Fair. Justice is instead about fairness to you. It steps about balance, about truth." Outside the courtroom, whispers followed us. Cameras flashed. I let it happen, carefully, deliberately. I released the story to select contacts, truth laid bare. The ripple effect would be perfect. His social circle, his professional world, all would feel the consequences he had so meticulously ignored. "Are you okay?" my lawyer asked, walking beside me. I nodded. "More than okay. I set him whole, stronger, focused. He will feel the balance he denied me for so long." Weeks later, I made a symbolic act. A statement, carefully worded, public enough for him to see, for his peers to hear. Not vengeance, not humiliation, justice, clarity. To those who witnessed deceit, lies, or betrayal, know that truth cannot be hidden forever. And to those who doubted, see the consequences of dishonesty. Balance is not optional, it is inevitable. I posted it, watched the reactions, felt the satisfaction settle in, not cruel, but complete. Inside, I was calm. The weight of betrayal lifted, rage had transformed into focus, hurt had become clarity, and he had regret, panic, awareness. But I had closure, full, unshakable closure. As I walked away, the sun hitting my face, I realized something profound. Justice is poetic, sweet, precise, not in malice, but in truth. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I smiled. Not for revenge, not for his suffering, but for me. I had reclaimed my life, my dignity, my power. And the world knew. I stepped out of the courthouse, sunlight warm on my face, the weight of months finally lifting. It was over, not perfectly, not cleanly, but over. You look different, my sister said, falling into step beside me. Her eyes were wide but soft, concern mixed with awe. I feel different, I admitted. My voice was low, calm. I don't need him to define me anymore. You earned this, she said, squeezing my hand. Every hard step, every sleepless night, you earned it. My best friend caught up, laughter breaking the tension. And don't you dare tell me you didn't enjoy seeing him squirm, she teased. I smiled, a flash of mischief breaking through. I once did lie, it felt satisfying, but it wasn't about that, not really. She raised an eyebrow, then what was it about? Balance, I said softly, looking at the street ahead. Control, justice, knowing I can survive betrayal and come out stronger. Unbroken, that's the point. We walked in silence for a moment, letting the city hum around us. Every passerby, every car, every shout from a distant street felt like noise. I no longer needed to process, my focus was internal. I can't believe how far you've come, my sister whispered. I laughed lightly, shaking my head. I can. I was broken, yes. But broken doesn't mean defeated. Not if you fight. Not if you reclaim yourself. We found a quiet cafe nearby. Coffee in hand, I let myself breathe. For the first time in months, truly breathe. You know, my best friend said, leaning back, I always knew you handle it, but I didn't know you rise this unstoppable. Unstoppable, I repeated quietly. The word felt good, solid, true. I reflected on the journey, the heartbreak, the disbelief, the meticulous planning, the courtroom, every step shaped me. Pain had been a teacher, betrayal had been fuel, rage had been focus. And now clarity, peace, even. Do you ever forgive him? My sister asked hesitantly. I paused thinking, not yet, maybe never, but forgiveness isn't the point. Respect for myself is. I don't need him to apologize. I don't need closure from him. I have it within me. She nodded slowly, understanding. My best friend smiled knowingly. Then what steps next? I shrugged. The weight of uncertainty strangely liberating. Next, I live. I rebuild. I trust wisely. I laugh again. I step into life on my terms. We lingered a moment longer, sharing quiet smiles, a subtle acknowledgement of what had been endured and survived. I thought of the courthouse one last time. The echoes of testimony, the eyes of witnesses, the hush of the courtroom, all had led here. Every calculated move, every document, every silent observation proof that cunning and resilience can restore balance. I feel free, I whispered, not to anyone in particular, but aloud anyway. It felt important to claim it. You should, my sister said softly, after everything. The city felt different now. Brighter, sharper, full of possibility. I was no longer defined by betrayal, by lies, by his manipulations. I was defined by me, resilient, strategic, unshakable. As we left the cafe, I took a deep breath. The world stretched ahead, wide and open. My footsteps were confident, every step deliberate, every glance forward purposeful. I smiled at the horizon, letting the wind brush my face. The ashes of the past still lingered, but from them something stronger had emerged. I was not a victim. I was in control, and I was ready to live life fully, fiercely, and on my own terms. Freedom didn't feel like escape. It felt like reclaiming a throne that was always mine. And for the first time in a long time, I truly believed it. I was unstoppable.